down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, Ohana, we have our pink Zerg player from Acer. It's Bly, his opponent here throwing up the GGG, space L in the top left-hand corner.
Oh.
From Dream Team Gaming is our purple Protoss player, Sickness.
But he likes SNSD. There were also more wop-wops, or less wop-wops in it than I thought. There were 3, Kevin. I thought there were 4.
Ah.
I was mistaken.
Truly an
Obviously,
error that will resonate throughout human history.
I'm you know, I'm ashamed. I'm really sorry. I wish it hadn't gone down that way, but...
Oh, that's right. I forgot we're watching Acer, which means you can expect 1,000 lines of spectator chat. So that's Acer. Please stop doing
Actually,
that. Please.
What was it? What team? We saw a ton the other day from a different one as well.
Root.
Yeah, that is exactly who it was, in fact. Kevin! So reliable, man.
Trust me, I remember. Anyway, so... but Scarlet does raise a good point there. This is Ohana, kind of the quintessential Immortal Century all-in map in PvZ.
Yep.
So we'll see if Bly is going to have to deal with that, or if we're just going to play a little bit longer protracted PvZ here. We have seen players like Parting go for a very successful 3-base style, largely because their Zerg players are fairly defensive on this map, playing a little bit slower brand, higher tech, going up to bases slower and slower, so it usually gives them an opportunity to slide in that third Nexus a bit earlier on.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And, you know, the possibilities here of aggression versus, like, a macro style of play, this is one of the things that's so cool about Ohana. Things would really, really change if you didn't have those destructible debris. You know, it would make it so much tougher to take that there, but I love the element that adds to the game, and the element of trickery that you can add, which I can't believe we actually haven't seen yet. I have yet to see it casting at the IPL. To see a player start destroying the destructible debris under the guise of an Overlord and then deciding to actually go for an aggressive play.
Yeah.
To, you know, use it as a trickery and make it look like they intended to expand and not. I mean, I feel like that's a pretty simple play. I'm waiting to see it happen, man, but looked like Bly actually got down that hatchery very easily, and that's a nice victory for him.
Well, here's the funny part, too. I was about to say, oh, that's a disaster for Sickness, because he went for it first. So he wanted to pylon block. He wanted to delay that hatchery for quite a while. But then he ducks back in and sees gas. And that's a completed extractor. That was an extractor trick. So, you know, I wonder how he's going to react to this. And that earlier forge and not expending the minerals on the pylon up at the front is actually going to end up benefiting him to a degree, because he can get that cannon down a bit earlier on, build in this wall.
Yeah, he can. Sickness is using some crazy mind games right now, Kev. I mean, he stopped mining that gas entirely. And, I mean, you know, you lose a little bit of efficiency there. You sacrifice a drone, of course, and a fair amount of minerals as well. And now he's starting to mine off it, but very, very delayed. Definitely a different play than he may have intended at the beginning.
Yeah, I wonder what Bly's going for here, or what he's going to save up to. We'll see if it ends up just being some sort of a big bust here in a bit. But in any case, he will have 300 resources in the relative near future. Looks like Sickness has done a nice job retreating with all of his probes for now. But, yep, Nexus is complete. Things are looking pretty normal for him. Oh, well, actually, I take that back a bit. Only 1 gas up now for Sickness. So a little bit of trickery on his own, too, answering his opponent's early gas.
Yeah, +1 4-gate is a definite possibility here. We will be waiting to see if Sickness takes a third base, guys. I mean, we're at 26 supply. He hasn't done anything of that nature. Has yet to send a drone to do something.
All right, so yeah, Bly hasn't sent out that drone quite yet, hasn't taken that base, just making another round of drones back at home. He himself is up to just 20 drones for the time being, but just finishes a few more, so catches up on the worker count. So we're already going to turn into a little bit of an unconventional game here. You mentioned the possibility of a strong gateway play out of Sickness, and that is certainly a possibility, but what is Bly going to answer that with?
This is just really, really interesting for Bly. I mean, he's pulling an incredibly large quantity of minerals right now. We see 2 Overlords popping up, but he did supply block himself at 36, so, I mean, that really could just... And he's making the drones. For the last minute or two, you know, he sat on 300 minerals. Now he hasn't. So this, it doesn't look like any sort of 2-base muta play. He has his 100 gas, so could start his lair here in a second to go to infestors. There does start the lair. Yeah,
Bly actually has to watch out here because his, as I was just checking, his Overlord down at the bottom left of Sickness's main did not actually get in to see the lack of a second gas. Now, of course, if he gets it up there sometime soon and he clicks on the gas, he'll clearly see, oh, wow, you haven't mined much from this, but and that'll be fine for him. But the fact of the matter is, did he even see this gas off to this side? Yeah, so he's looking at this and he's thinking, oh, maybe 3 gas now. This could be very telltale towards an Immortal Sentry all-in or something along those lines, when Cygnus may be going for something completely different.
But he's poking in now with that Overlord, and let's keep a close eye, see if he clicks on that gas. He is floating in right now. I don't think he's selected it quite yet.
No, because it doesn't look out of the ordinary at this stage. Like you wouldn't think to click on it necessarily because
he's too busy looking for tech.
Yeah,
and he's not going to see any.
No.
Oh man, this is really, really tough for Bly, who had never clicked on that assimilator. If he had, as you said, Kevin, would have realized there's way too many minerals here for things to line up cleanly.
All right, well, that goes down, and he's still a little bit in the dark because, like I said, everything looks normal to him. Once these Overlords do end up dying, oh, wow, actually, he gets that one away. But still, once he ends up getting those away, Cygnus could have actually detected that as being turned into an Overseer. You can see that from his perspective, nothing really looks out of the ordinary. He just happened to miss either gateways or something along those lines. Oh, very nice job.
Gets picked off, and Bly is so in the dark. He probably just started morphing the Overseer over to the right now, I think. Is that what that is? Okay. But you're absolutely right. There's no tech here. The gateways are just going down. +1 is only a quarter of the way done. I mean, even Cygnus is both players are actually a little bit behind here on what you would expect for these builds.
Okay, but after all is said and done, we're going to have 7 gates and we're going to have a robotics facility with +1 weapons. This still could be quite the powerful follow-up here. I actually want to take a look at his vision and see exactly what he saw. Okay, he didn't see the robotics facility or the additional 3 gateways down here in the bottom left-hand corner. So Cygnus still a little bit in the dark. I'm sorry, Bly's still a little bit in the dark from what Cygnus is doing. But Bly himself, he's got a ton of Hydralisks coming up. He's building 10 of them. It's purely Hydraling at the moment. No Roach Warren to be found.
This is a little bit tricky, though, because he believes this is, I mean, he should think that this is an Immortal Sentry all-in with the Hydras behind it. I mean, there's definitely a lot of ways he could read it, but he saw the high Sentry count. He saw the late 3 top-end gateways here. He definitely doesn't. I mean, there's how many Immortals are there? This actually still could be something on the lines of
that's the
very
thing
late
too.
Immortal Sentry.
The weird thing about this is that this could possibly just end up turning into an Immortal Sentry play afterwards, but obviously not kind of the cleanest way to go about it for Cygnus. Bly certainly has very high DPS, good units to deal with Sentries, good units to deal with Immortals, certainly. But he hasn't actually researched crew spines.
Well, he's looking right now. That's completely true. And it looks like he's looking for some pylons, wants to clean up some early units. Hydralisk getting caught. You can see how good they are at meleeing. Will manage to find this pylon in the back left, hopefully, after cleaning up these zealots. But the thing here for me, Kev, is he's being really aggressive, like all over the map. And I mean, it's a good thing he got home here because you do not want to get caught out in the middle of a map with Ling Hydra.
Right.
This is a 7-gate Immortal play.
This is still going to be a really wacky engagement here in just a bit. Not typical unit compositions. Of course, the units aren't going to be as hardy as Roaches, but they're going to deal out a lot more damage. And if he can find a way to get these Zerglings to actually absorb most of the damage up at the front and allow the Hydralisk to kill a couple of the Sentries, maybe pick off one of the Immortals, he's actually going to be in a fairly decent spot.
Yeah, there aren't any Zealots with this. Literally none. There are 0 Zealots with this. And that is incredibly good, guys, because, I mean, Hydralisks, very not so great against Zealots, and then Lings are just horrible versus them. And in this situation, we've got Stalkers, which die to Lings, Sentries, which die to Hydras, Immortals, which don't do damage to either of these units. Here we go.
Crew spines are going to finish in about 3 seconds, 2-1. So that's a good thing for Bly there, because that could have been disastrous had he continued to forget that and gone into this engagement with just 5 range. The Stalkers would have been able to kite those Hydralisks for a while.
Oh, but he does get trapped out. But here's the thing. Cygnus can't do anything with those force fields. Yeah, they cut him off. And he's going to clean up a couple of units here for pretty much free. He gets a Stalker and a Sentry. All right, not too bad for Bly. But Cygnus, he actually can't drop force fields on the bottom and then move in here because he's going to get surrounded from the back.
Yeah, and it looks like he's trying to go that way too, but there are still a couple of force fields up, and he replenishes them with a Sentry that was out in the open, so the Immortals and Sentries are still going to pick away at this hatchery. It ends up falling, and Bly is still trapped inside of his natural.
Oh, but he's getting out. This is going to get really, really scary. He's going to try to come in, but this is a narrow choke here. Force fields could be incredibly effective, and there are 0 Zerglings accompanying this army anymore, Kevin, but it looks like Cygnus is going to be able to possibly pull back. No, he's going to keep trying to engage here. Hydralisk's unable to fire. These some very nice force fields, but the energy is expended at this point. And are there Zerglings reinforcing? Yes, there are. 16 of them about to spawn here in a second.
Okay, well, a big warp into Zealots, and that's not too surprising because it'll be needed to deal with these Zerglings that run up to the front, and they do actually manage to get through from the side. You can see how high DPS the Hydras are. They're actually able to deal with most of the Zealots before the units are able to close against those, but Bly still, doesn't have a ton of stuff. He still lost a hatchery amongst all this. He wasn't able to kill any of the Immortals. The Warp Prism didn't even end up falling, and even though he's going to take out this force, he's certainly going to need a big answer sometime soon.
Yeah, that was really well done by Sickness, sending that single sentry up to get the top ramp, preventing Sickness or Bly, from being able to swing around on the outside. And now from this position, Bly really doesn't have many options.
All right, well, Bly's falling back. He made an Infestation Pit and a Spire at about the same time, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to utilize the tech from either of those. He can only make two of the Infestors right now, but that would still set him so far behind because of how long they take to construct.
Well, with these Colossus, I mean, especially with Extended Thermal Lance is about to finish now here, yeah. Now we do have Sickness still on 2 bases, notably, but Bly actually just canceled his third. So it looks like he's going to just focus on ramping up into Mutalisks. He's going to need to kill as many of these Stalkers as possible to fare any chance at taking this game.
All right, well, that Colossus now with range and with a buddy joining him across the map is going to be incredibly powerful. Of course, those are... it used to be for a while in PvZ, you'd have kind of that rock, paper, scissors, as one person would make, Stargate or something like that. The other person would go Hydralisks, then they would go Colossi to counter that out. But we kind of skipped the Stargate process and just went straight to the counters to begin with.
Well, here come the Lings, and yeah, you're completely right, Kevin. I mean, bypassing that really accelerated things for him, and just no options left at this point for Bly, guys. He's trying to hold on. He's going to be able to make the 9 or 10. He's actually going to go for Corruptors, in fact. So we'll see if this can make the difference for him. If he can take out these Colossi and then engage with the Hydras, he may be able to do it. But no, he's being forced to come forward right now. And with this, I mean, he really is going to be able to get much done. The Colossi able to kite out of range. Everything is dying.
So many drone carcasses off to the side, and there's just nothing these units can do about that. 73 supply and falling now for Bly as it looks like he's on his last legs, and it appears as though we're going to have a quick game number 1 for Dream Team Gaming.
Yes, we will, and a big, wow, GG going down for Bly. Huge credit there for Sickness. Sending that sentry up to the top allowed him to take out that third and kind of cascade his way to victory there. It was a really, really smart play, making sure that Sickness couldn't trap him.
Okay, well, that's game number 1, a relatively quick game number 1, and Acer going straight to their big guns. It's actually going to be the aforementioned Terran player we were talking about, MMA.
Awesome. All right, MMA finally going to hit the field here in his new colors. Guys, we'll be jumping into that game after a quick commercial break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be back with MMA facing off against Sickness.